Hello everyone, I am Dr. Ekta Bhushan, teaching at Indira Gandhi Institute of Physical Education and Sports Sciences, University of Delhi. In this series, we will discuss different topics associated with sports training, but today in particular, we will discuss the topic aims and objectives of sports training. So, in general, the word training is commonly used term in human language, but in broad sense, training may be defined as an organized and systematic instructional process which aim is to improve the individual's physical, psychological and intellectual performance capacity. In sports, the term training is often used by the player, coaches and scientists, but there are some disagreement among the coaches and scientists regarding the exact meaning of this term. Because the expert, those who belongs to sports medicine, are in the opinion that sports training is simply a doing of physical exercise, whereas some other experts understood the meaning of the word in the form of interval training, strength training, technical training and tactical training. In the light of the various concepts, meaning of the term and nature of the training, it is essential to study the sum of the important definitions given by the various experts in the field of sports. So let's see all the definitions. So sports training is the basic form of preparation of sportsmen. This is by Mathway. Then sports training based on scientific knowledge is a pedagogical process of sports perfection through which systematic effect on psycho-physical performance ability and performance readiness aims at leading the sportsmen to high and the highest performance. That is by Hare. Then the sports training is a scientifically based and pedagogical organized process through planned and systematic effect on the performance ability and performance readiness aims at the sports perfection and performance improvement as well as at the contest in sports competition. This is by Cheneville. Then let's see the coaching means. Coaching may be defined as the technical skill which involve coordination of factors like time, sequence, action, movement and speed. Sports training is the process of preparation of sportsmen based on scientific and pedagogical principles aims at improving and maintenance of higher performance capacity. So, the main aim of the sports training is to prepare a sportsman for a highest possible performance in a main competition in a particular sports or event. Besides this, following should be considered as the aim of the sports training, and they are improvement of physical fitness, acquisition of motor skills, improvement of tactical efficiency, then education and improvement of mental capabilities. So let's start with the first one, which is improvement of physical fitness. So the performance in sports generally depends upon the physical fitness of a sportsman. Hence, the improvement of various components of physical fitness or motor abilities is the prime aim of the sports training. Every sports activity needs specific type of physical fitness, but in this view, the development of physical fitness should not be ignored because specific fitness is depend on the general fitness. The second one is acquisition of motor skills. So every sports activity needs certain movement procedure to tackle a particular task which refers to the technique. When this three technique is learned and perfect, it is called as skill. So whenever sportsmen indulge in technical training, aim of which is to acquire skills of particular sports. Technique training is differ from sports to sports. If we take the example of gymnastics and diving, which require greater amount of technical training, whereas track events need very less amount of technique to be learned. The third one is improvement of tactical efficiency. So, tactical training in sports competition helps the sportsperson in such a way where he or she makes the best use of his ability, skills and all external factors which are beneficial to attain high level of performance and hinder the opponent to do so. Tactical training include knowledge of rules, tactical abilities, technical training. Therefore, improvement of tactical efficiency is considered to be the important aim of the sports training. The next is education and improvement of mental capabilities. So, performance in any sports event up to some extent depend on the personality of a sportsman. Therefore, education and improvement of mental capabilities is also considered as one of the aim of sports training. Education in sports include development of positive attitude towards competition, dedication and devotion towards particular sports or event, sincerity and honesty, self-confidence and optimum level of aspiration and formation of good habits. Keeping all these things in mind, it is the moral duty of every physical education teacher, instructor and coach to educate the sportsmen through sports training. Now let's see what are the functions of sports training. So, the performance of an individual depends upon the performance capacity of a sportsperson. This capacity is complex in nature and depends upon certain factors like speed, strength, flexibility, endurance and coordinative abilities. If we take the physique into an account, which is moreover genetic and it cannot be trained by means of training, but other factors are trainable, so some extent. To achieve these following tasks of the sports training should be considered. First one is development of sports personality. Personality of sportsmen is observed in the form of habit, behavior and attitude towards the requirement of training of competitive sports events. It is quite clear that the personality is influenced in the process of tackling the task involved. Hence, the personality of the sportsman can be developed through systematic and logical guidance during regular participation in the sports activity. To ensure the improvement and achieve high level of performance, it is worthwhile to develop the physical, mental and social aspects of a sportsperson. The sportsmen are required to develop the specific personality characteristics. The specific personality characteristics which are more suitable to attain high level of sports performance in particular sports. The next one is performance efficiency. So, the rate at which performance efficiency is developed during the sports training is largely depend upon the amount of training and competition. It has the decisive bearing on the improvement of performance efficiency and performance ability. The performance efficiency is also depend on the amount of training. Load is given during the sports training, but the quality of the way of training is organized will also be crucial for changing high load into higher performance capacity. The next one is physical training. So physical training of sports person refers to the speed, strength, endurance, flexibility and coordinative abilities. These qualities are performance prerequisites of any sports, and requirement of these qualities vary from sports to sports because some sports require single ability whereas other require combination of two. To improve these abilities, sportsmen should regularly participate in general, specific and competitive sports activity demanded for the particular sports. The next one is technical training. So technical training enables the sportsman to make the optimum and best use of physical abilities during the sports competition. The technical training helps to achieve the skill of particular sports which is directly related to the sports performance, because higher the level of technical skill, higher will be the performance. In order to acquire mastery over the skill, one should regularly participate in technical training because it ensures the perfection of skills which helps to attain higher performance in sports competition. Technical mastery over the skills also ensures the proper application of motor abilities which reduce the effort, energy consumption during the competition. The next one is tactical training. So the use of correct tactics enables the sports person to make the best possible use of physical and psychological capacity of a sports person. The tactical training helps in the understanding the strength and weakness of the opponents and also develop the ability to overcome these types of situations during competition. Gradually increasing of technical efficiency helps the athlete to win the top level events in nationals and international competitions. Keeping all these facts in mind, all sort of skills and abilities should acquire during training, which are normally put into practice to win any sports event. Hence, tactical training must be considered as an important part of sports training. Now, the next one is mental training or intellectual training. So, intellectual training refers to the higher demand put on the mental faculty of a person. When sportsmen engage in training of competitive sports, he should encourage understanding the latest technical and tactical aspect of a game and how to develop these modern means and methods of training. It is also desirous complete guide to training, develop good habits and positive attitudes and tactical ideas with good imaginations, which helps to develop the new technique and help in planning and analyzing the daily schedule. By doing so, sports person systematically develops the mental faculty which continuously helps to improve the theoretical knowledge of a sports training. Thus, mental training is considered to be the important part of a sports training. Now, let's see the characteristics of the sports training. So, sports training is not merely concerned with physical activities that all we know now, which involves the physical movements. The various activities like dance, play and various field, example industries and factories also involve physical movements. those activities or areas cannot be considered the sports training, because sports training has some essential features which are observed in all kind of physical culture and which are particularly more prominent in competitive sports training. Some of the important features, or we can call it characteristics, which are more common are as follows. So the sports training aim is to achieve high performance in a competition. Sports training concerned with individual matter. Sports training is planned and systematic. Sports training is a scientific process. In sports training, coach has the dominating role. Optimum development of physical and psychological level of sportsmen. Sports training controls daily schedule of a sportsman. Sports training is an educational process. Sports training is a process of perfection. Sports training is a process of development of hidden talent. Now let's start from the first one, which is sports training aim is to achieve high performance in a competition. So the important feature of sports training is to achieve the highest possible performance in any of the sports competition and to maintain it for a longer period of time. So the great talent of a sportsman cannot longer afford to train to achieve high level of performance in various sports competition. Sports training is not a simple play or recreational activity, but it is serious activity which helps to attain high performance in a competition. The second one is sports training concerned with individual matter. So performance in any sports is the sum of various factors which are differ from individual to individual. If we take up the example of sprint event, whereas at high level of international competition, there is slight difference in centimeter or fractions of seconds which decides performance record, victory or defeat. For that very reason, it is necessary to identify the individual potentialities during the training, because one might have the good reaction time, whereas other may have good acceleration ability and locomotor speed and so on. So therefore, it is an urge or need to emphasize on the individual matter during the training. The next one is sports training is a planned and systematic. So it has been observed that sports training is planned in the form of training plan, training cycles according to the time and duration of the competition and as per the requirement of particular sports event. So the sports training is organized on the basis of logical facts which are practically designed to improve in performance systematically. The next one is sports training as a scientific process. So nowadays, this is the era of science and technology, because performance of human being are advancing due to the science and modern technology. The performance in sports is highly influenced by the scientific methods of equipments, facilities and modern theories of sports training. So as to attain high level of performance in sports competition, it is necessary to incorporate the science in the process of sports training. The next one is in sports training, coach has dominating role. So sports training is planned, organized and evaluated by the coach, training or physical education teacher who control each and everything of a sports person. The coach is not only responsible for the coaching of a sports person, but his dominant role should be understood in a broad sense. In addition To his direct role with the young sports person in sports training, he should also have the close association with scientists and other person who helps in uplifting the performance of sportsmen. The coach should stimulate and encourage not only to train well the sports person but also to learn them all kind of education. The dominant role of the coach should not be considered as treatment of the sports person as children, because the highest performance in a competition is depend upon the good imagination and successful participation in an event. The next one is optimum development of physical and psychological level of sports person. So, to achieve the optimum physical and psychological development of a sports person, maximum training load should be given, but increase in the load should be in a way so that the sportsmen adapt as per the requirement of a game or sports. Adaptation of load by a sportsman always improve the performance most effectively. Hence, the sports training becomes an important part of the life of a sports person. The next one is sports training controls daily schedule of a sportsman. So, sports training is not a fun and enjoyment which can be treated as a recreational activity. To continue with a regular training with its best effect, the sports training becomes a tough task, because the sportsman has to adjust his other activities as per daily schedule of training, so that training can run smoothly once or twice a day. When we look into the vital features of sports training, we always realize that sportsmen must possess high degree of discipline, sincerity and honesty, as these are qualities of a champion sportsman. The next one is sports training is an educational process. So, as it is quite clear that sports training is an educational and pedagogical process which helps to develop the overall personality of a sportsman. Without developing the personality, the higher performance is impossible. Or in other words, development of the sports personality is directly proportional to the performance improvement of the sportsman through a sports training. The next one is sports training is a process of perfection. So, it is well known fact that sports training is planned, systematic and scientific process of a preparation of sports person for higher performance. To achieve the aim of sports training, various means and methods are applied. These means and methods are flexible in nature, which can be modified, improved, and new methods are developed with the help of various sports sciences. The process of observation, conducting experiments, analyzing data, and discovering new thoughts is an important characteristic of sports training in modern time. Hence, the sports training is a continuous process of perfection and improvement of sports performance. The next one is sports training is a process of development of hidden talent. So, sports training is a goal-oriented process by preparing a sportsman for the higher performance as the need and requirement of a competition. The regulation of training helps the coach to assess the performance of the player at any moment. For effective regulation of training, new points should be kept in mind. They are: training plan should include aims, sub-aims, load, means and methods. Second is training documents should be maintained. Third one is information regarding the level of competition, rate of improvement. Now we have come to conclusion. So, in conclusion, I would like to say that the sports training is understood as a process of systematic development of each component in dependence on the duration of preparation, which leads to achieving maximum efficiency in senior age with the selected sports discipline. In the broad sense, sports training is the entire systematic process of preparation of athlete for highest level of athlete performance. It comprises all those learning influences and processes, including self-tuition by the athlete, which are aimed at improving performance. I hope you understood about sports training, aim and objectives of sports training, and various characteristics of sports training. That's all for today. See you next time. Thank you.